Hey everyone, this is Chris, and you're listening to One Cross Radio. And today we are joined by nobody. It's just me. Today's going to be a shorter episode, but I'll be honest, I felt like ranting. Ranting about a certain movie. In one recent episode, the Derailed A Conversation with Three Friends episode, Mike and I talked about how we wish we saved our rant about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom for the podcast. So this is basically that rant, because while I was out walking Luna, I was thinking about how great Jurassic Park was, started thinking about how terrible Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is. So let's dive into it a bit. For the longest time, I've thought Jurassic Park 3 it's up there in one of the worst movies I've seen. It's a terrible third part. It's a terrible flick. But Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom might have unseated it. Now, let me unpack that a bit. Jurassic Park 3 is still terrible. The structure is awful. It has no climax. It has no real ending. It's really shambles. It's really bad. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom doesn't have some of those same structural issues that Jurassic Park 3 does. There's a clear climax. There is a structure. It doesn't seem as meandering or figuring out what it is while it's shooting. But it's also a lot dumber than Jurassic Park 3 and a lot more infuriating in some aspects than Jurassic Park 3. Fallen Kingdom is absolutely terrible. I think if it had come out before Jurassic World, then the franchise would be dead in the water. So yeah, recently they released the short, I think it's called Big Bad Little Rock, which is kind of interesting because it takes place after Fallen Kingdom, where the new reality is dinosaurs are just in the world now. What was weird about it is that it's not coming out before the third movie. It didn't even attach, like, at the end, more news to follow in Jurassic World 3. Didn't give a release date, didn't give anything. So that part's kind of weird, because you think, like, any positive buzz you have with this, you'd want to parlay that into positive buzz and excitement about the upcoming film. And then there's been some rumors about the upcoming film that came out soon thereafter, but nothing concrete. But the big battle for Little Rock, or whatever the heck it's called, was good for what it was. I liked that it featured the Allosaurus. Allosaurus is one of my favorites since I was a kid. There was some odd stuff in it, and there was other stuff where it's like it was dark in the sense of it was just animals doing what animals do, where the Allosaurus shows up because there's like a family of Triceratops, where it's the mom and the baby, and heck, it's known in the animal kingdom that predators will go for the easiest kill because they want to exert the least energy, and that's often the young and the elderly or the sick. So you're like, oh man, I don't want it to go for the baby, but it does. The baby lives because the parents show up, and then it attacks the people nearby. Everybody's like shutting off the lights, trying to hide because it's a giant predator. That was better than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Fallen Kingdom is incredibly dumb. And I'll also say mean. Since I've gotten Luna, I can't deal with animals in captivity as much. Now, I mean, you can make the argument that, well, the first Jurassic Park and Jurassic World were about animals in captivity. Yes, but they also they were being taken care of. They weren't they weren't in small enclosures, and they weren't in said captivity being in life or death situations. They had huge paddocks. They had a lot of open land. It's not the same as being free, but you can see where I'm going with this. In the Lost World, briefly, they were kept in small containers, and then you felt for them because you could see they were all like sad and all that jazz. But that was also just for like 10-ish minutes, not even 10 minutes of the full flick. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, they figured out there's a volcano on the island. It's going to explode. It's going to blow. So everything's going to die. And then people are trying to move them to another sanctuary island where they'll leave them be. Well, people are lying, and they're like they take the dinosaurs, and then they auction them. Like, all of this is terrible. That's almost the tone of the movie. It's these animals in tight captivity, and then in life or death situations the entire movie. But it's like, it hit me really hard. It's got a really dour tone. That's just different than the other movies. Also, at points, I felt it got jerkish. Like, to the film's credit, there was one absolutely genuine, sad tearjerker of a scene where the Brachiosaurus, after the volcano has erupted and the ash is coming, you see like the people going away on the boats. They've got the dinosaurs with them, but then you just hear this Brachiosaurus like crying, almost like it's making its whale noise. Not whale like underwater whale, but like woo. Terrible impression. And they're all looking, and then the dramatic music's hitting, and you just see this thing approaching the dock. You know it's trying to escape, and then the ash overtakes it, and then you hear more sad noises, and everybody gets sad. And it's a genuinely like sad moment. You're like, this sucks, because you see the thing, you see the thing die. They don't go too over the top with it, where it's like, all right, now we're in the ash cloud, and we're watching all that, because that'd be even more terrible. Like, it was rough, but the right kind of rough. But here's where it gets jerkish. Later, the director and the producers were like, oh, hey, that Brachiosaur that we killed, guess what? That was the Brachiosaurus, the first dinosaur you saw in a full shot from your childhood from the first Jurassic Park. Like, that's mean. That's unnecessary. That's just totally kicking you for no reason. Like, it already sucks because it's another dinosaur, and it's got the sentimental value because of it was a deliberate choice, because it's like the Brachiosaurus, like I said, is the first dinosaur you see. But then it's like, hey, we know we got you down with this, so let's kick you in the crotch even more and be like, oh, hey, it was the exact Brachiosaurus. Like, that's a jerk move. It was a dour movie. At points when they're in captivity, and they're being auctioned off to people, it's dour and dumb, because a compy or something or other animals the dinosaurs are being sold at times for not even millions of dollars. I think someone got something for $500,000, and these are like drug dealers, people with cartels and military operations. Like, it's all so terrible. And then someone's getting a dinosaur for less than $1 million. Like, that's stupid. Like, that would not actually happen. Like, the whole thing is terrible, but then it's also dumb on top of it. And then we get to the Indoraptor. But let's hark back to the start of the movie, where it's also really, really dumb. It's this mercenary team getting to the island because to make the Indoraptor, they need more of the Indominus DNA. And they're like, oh, well, we know where it was killed. The Mosasaurus at the end of the movie. So it's in the bottom of the Mosasaurus pen. And then the mercenaries are like, this thing's gone, right? Which, yes, it would be. It's a giant predator that, unless it's had consistent dinosaurs going to a single watering hole, its pool, unless it has that for constant food, that thing would have died without a constant source of food. But They didn't do that. I think they said it had been a couple years. So they're in the pool, and Mosey, as much as I love Mosey, was still alive, which makes no sense because it would have not had a constant source of food. It attacks people. They end up getting the thing, and then Mosey breaks out. It's really, really dumb that Mosey is still alive. Like, it became a fan favorite. You knew it was going to be alive, but it's also, they could have thrown in an explanation. They could have done something, or even just had the Mosasaurus break out, as the island's kind of been left to do its thing. But it's really really dumb. Or even show a dinosaur going to the watering hole and then being pulled in. But they didn't. So then they're like, oh, this thing would be dead. Yes, it would be. So they get the Indominus DNA. Then they make the Indoraptor. And this is incredibly convoluted and stupid. So the idea is, with the Indoraptor, it's going to be used by people with more so like people with a military targets, where it's like, well, this person is a target we want to eliminate. So using a gun, they use it's almost like the red dot that you see from a sniper rifle in TV shows and movies. They tag someone with this, and then the Indo catches that, and then the Indo will pursue until it has that target, and then it's probably going to kill that target. Which is really, really stupid. Because if you're tagging someone with a light, like, at that point, if you can do that, you can shoot them. You can execute them with a sniper rifle. Basically, it's like, let's take a gun and shoot a dinosaur at someone. That's so stupid. It's so dumb. Who thought of this? How did this make it past this? How did this make it into a movie? How did it do this? I don't understand. Like, that's so dumb. You can't explain that. It makes no sense. That was a thing. That was a thing that someone thought was a good idea. That was a thing that survived many drafts. That was a thing that happened in a movie. Not even randomly. Not even like in one of those deliberately bad but fun B movies where it's like, what's with the raptor guns? Or anything like that, where it's the random dumb tone of the movie so you know what it's going for. No, this was trying to be serious. This was a thing. I don't get it. It's so dumb. Alright, so that's this episode. Because now I'm just circling. And I will forever circle over how stupid that is. Because it's incredibly stupid. The last thing I do want to say is, also in this movie, you find out that there was a guy who worked with Hammond. Hammond was fine playing God and bringing back extinct species of dinosaurs. But the reason he separated from his business partnership with this fellow is this fellow wanted to clone his dead granddaughter. And Hammond felt like that's a step too far, which, well, homeboy, you're paying people to bring back extinct species. Like, it's in a similar ballpark here. But at the end of this movie, there is a clone. There is a living clone. They have people react to it, but they also don't dive into it, and that's a big step, even though it's in a similar ballpark, in these movies. And it's kind of like, you need to unpack that. And then also, at the end of the day, like, as the mansion and everything's burning down and the animals are about to die, which sucks, she lets them out. So you're like, all right, potentially if life finds a way and a lone raptor somehow asexually like procreates an entire species of raptors, or there were a couple that were pairs and not just single, if they start repopulating, like the massive repercussions here, like there's potential for that. That's on her, which is like it's a bad situation because on one hand you shouldn't want that, like you don't want death on a mass scale, but then in the movie you're wanting her to release them because you don't want the dinosaurs to die, especially in such a terrible way. Again, yeah, it's just a really dumb movie. It's really bad. I have hopes for the third one. The rumors are right now that it will involve Sattler, so Laura Dern, Ian Malcolm, so Jeff Goldblum, but in a non-bookend cameo role, and Sam Neill as Alan Grant. Like those three are rumored to be back and heavily involved, which is very interesting, because I love all three of those characters, and they all deserve good send-offs. Hopefully, they'll Bryce Dallas Howard's Claire will be back, and Owen, played by Chris Pratt, will be back. But ideally, they'll both have like actual reasons to be here, and not just they're the characters from the first one but flipped, and a debatably forced romance. Although their romance doesn't really bother me all that much. Hopefully, they'll have a good reason to be involved. Yeah, seriously, Fallen Kingdom is really bad and really dumb. All right, well, dear listener, thank you for listening and going through my rant. I hope you enjoyed it. What are some movies that make you do this, where you just circle about how really, really dumb it is? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. Send me a DM over our Instagram account, 2099 OCR. You can always send us a message on Facebook. Let us know. I'd love to hear it, because I do love these conversations about big dumb movies. All that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, and God bless, my friends. Peace.